Hello guys, and welcome to a kind of a different video today. We are doing a Lorcana first chapter tier list, going over my view on all of the competitive viability for the cards that come out of Disney Lorcana's first chapter, first set. We're going to go over the tiers here. We've got best in color. If you are playing this color or your opponent's in these colors, I would expect to see these cards almost every time. If not at 4, then definitely at 3. Good in certain strategies is for certain cards that are not always going to show up if you're in that color, but if you are in a very certain strategy, it is mandatory, but not like a best in color type card. Slot filler, we are only at the first set, and so some of these cards are not the best, but we do have to get to 60 cards in our decks, and especially once the second and third set come out, I expect a lot of these cards to get cut from decks, but for now, there's definitely still worth playing, even though they're not the best. And then starter deck cards. These cards are just bad. These cards are only cards you're going to be seeing if you are just trying to learn the game. They're going to be the first cards you cut out of your starter decks that you pick up. And since we have 204 cards here, even if I spend a single minute explaining every single card, we will be here for over 3 hours. So we're going to go through this fairly quickly. If you have any specific, if you want to gauge any specific opinions on any cards that I'm mentioning, please let me know in the comments below. I'll be definitely looking out to respond to those. And with that, we'll just get right into this. So we've got 8 mana Mickey. I think this card is incredible. I'm going to put it in good in certain strategies. This card is incredible in a lot of the red payoff decks, the big red ramp decks, but I think unless you're ramping, you don't really want to play this card. Next up, we've got the 5 mana Maximus. This card is pretty strong. I like this card a lot in very specific decks. The bodyguard and the support can come up. Support is also very useful for yellow since it doesn't have very good challengers. Vicious Betrayal, I think, is bad. I think this card is a not good card. Doc Facilier's cards, maybe. In decks that play a lot of actions, you might want to do it. Green likes actions. I'll go ahead and put it in slot filler. I'm not big on this card right now, but if you put it in a deck that is playing a lot of actions, I don't hate it. Scimitar, I don't like this at all. It buffs your Aladdins. Even if you're playing a lot of Aladdins, I don't like it. Abu is definitely a slot filler. He is a 3 mana 3/2 that quests for 2. The fact that he quests for 2 means that he is a good like backup slot in a lot of these red decks. 7 mana Aladdin is the reason to be in red. This 7 mana Aladdin is crazy. He's a 7 mana 5/5 that quests for 2. He's got shift 5, so he can come out on turn 5 on top of your Aladdins. And whenever he beats somebody up in a challenge, you steal 2 lore from the opponent. So he basically quested. This card is insane, and if you're playing red and you're not playing this card, in my opinion, you're making a mistake. Going with that Aladdin, we have the other Aladdin. This card is only in here because you need it to play the big Aladdin. Captain is a starter deck card. He's just a big mana dude. He doesn't quest for a lot. This Captain Hook I do not like at all. It can shift down onto your other Captain Hooks, but there's a better shift Captain Hook that we'll see later. Donald Duck I don't hate as a slot filler. He's a 2 mana 2/3 that quests for 1. Not the worst thing in the world. I prefer an Abu, but he is 2 mana. This 4 mana Elsa I do not like at all. If when you play an Anna, you can ready her, but then she still can't quest that turn. Don't like it at all. Very bad. This Maximus is also not great. When he enters the battlefield, you horse kick somebody in the face and they lose 2 attack, but it's only for your turn, so it doesn't like stop them from hitting you, which is yellow's biggest problem. Don't really like that. Gaston is not great either. He's got Reckless. He's like a decent attacker. I could see him as slot filler. I don't necessarily hate him, but I don't really like him. Goofy I think is just bad. Goofy is a 6 mana evasive quester guy that quests for 2. You can just play Tigger. Tigger costs 5 and does basically the same thing. LeFou is very good. I like LeFou a lot. When you play LeFou, you get to untap one of your guys, and they can't quest for the rest of that turn, but especially when combined with this Aladdin never untaps. You swing with the Aladdin, you steal your 2 lore, and your opponent kills it into the sun because they have to or they lose the game. This LeFou lets you basically swing with the Aladdin twice, which is an insane swing. This Maui, personally, I'm not big on, but I understand why people are running it. It's good in certain strategies. It is one of Red's best removal, like bodies. It's not one of their best removal spells, but it's one of their best attackers. They don't really get good attackers outside of like something like the Aladdin that's only good because of his effect. Maui is good because of his stats, which is nice. Minnie is bad. Moana I think is like potentially a sideboard slot. When you play her, you kill your opponent's Taka. There's 2 Takas in the game, and I think they're both bad. If people start playing Takas, maybe she goes up, but like right now, she's like a slot filler sideboard slot. This Mulan I think is very good in certain strategies, definitely in like a yellow-red go wide deck where you're playing something like the Rockstar Stitch to go just slam a bunch of guys in board. This Peter Pan is not good. Goofy, I'm gonna put Goofy up in slot filler with the Musketeers solely because I, in my heart of hearts, cannot put the Musketeers in starter deck, or they probably belong. But I like the Musketeers. I like their little game plan. I like their cards, so we'll put him in slot filler. Pongo I think is actually a very, very strong card. I was sleeping on Pongo for a long time. Just these 2 anything that quests for 2 and has evasive is something you need to watch out for. Rapunzel, I think, is also good in certain strategies. She's a 6-mana 5/4 that quests for 2, and when you play her, your opponent loses 1 lore. I don't like her at more than 2 copies because she is uninkable, which is a big problem, and she's 6 mana, which is quite annoying. Then we've got Lava Scar. Lava Scar is very cool, and Lava Scar is a pin, but Lava Scar is dog shit. Then we've got Big Scar. Big Scar is also not good. Sergeant Tibbs, I think all of our 1-mana 2/2s are going to be in slot filler. They're just really good cards. They're just really good, like, smoothing your curve out type cards. They are all inkable. All the 1-mana 2/2s are inkable. They're 1-mana 2/2s. They just come down, put pressure early on in the game. They can trade for your opponent's 1-mana 2/2s. They can eat your opponent's 1-mana 1/1s. Yeah, I think they're just all pretty decent. I think they'll probably get cut, but they're all pretty good. This Stitch is potentially slot filler. I want to put it in starter decks, but I'm okay with putting it in slot filler because it quests for 3. Cards that quest for 3 you have to kill, and it's inkable. Taka, I think Taka's bad. I think all the Takas are bad. I don't like Taka. I think they're all bad. Tigger, I like Tigger a lot. Tigger is our 5-mana 2/2 evasive body. Tigger at 5 mana is right in a sweet spot. There's not a lot of great 5-mana plays in the red deck right now. I think Tigger is a really good spot. His defenses are good. His stats are good. He quests for 2. He's got evasive. I like that a lot. Be Prepared is the only board wipe in the game, the only hard board wipe in the game. Red needs to be playing it. This card is uninkable, so I don't necessarily think this card should be played at 4, even though I do think that for these Aladdins. Maybe at 3, in some decks at 2. It's a song, so you can sing it, so you can get some crazy blowout plays with your Aladdin, where like you swing with the Aladdin into their thing, kill their thing, play LeFou or one of the other cards we'll see in a minute to untap your Aladdin, have Aladdin sing Be Prepared, and then slam a Pongo or some shit. Like, you just win the game off the back of that. Like, that's crazy. If you resolve this against the Princesses deck, against the Stitch deck, against the Hades deck, you just win the game. Like, this just puts them so far behind so that if you're even casting cards, like, you just win the game. Next up, we've got Cut to the Chase. Don't think Cut to the Chase is very good. Don't like it at all. Minnie Mouse, going under some of our yellow cards here. Minnie Mouse, I think, is a slot filler. She's only played right now because she's a princess, and there's not many good princesses. Dragonfire is the best removal spell in the game, with potentially maybe an exception for one of the blue or steel spells. The fact that you can't ink it is a little annoying. It is not a song like Let It Go, which is a little annoying, but it just kills things. It doesn't help your opponent in any way like Let It Go does. It just kills whatever you're looking at. Kills small things, kills big things. The only things it doesn't kill is ward things, but that's where Aladdin comes in. Fan the Flames is a very good card. I'm gonna order these around here later, but I'm just gonna help myself a little bit. Fan the Flames is basically LeFou's effect on a 1-mana action. Next up, we've got He's Got a Sword. This card's bad. It's just +1 of your guys. Next up, we've got Tangle. I think Tangle's a slot filler for a lot of the red cards right now. It's one of the only cards that makes your opponent lose lore, but does not come with a body to then, like, hypothetically gain lore or to try and take out more of your opponent's cards. I think Tangle is not the best right now. Poison Apple is put it in slot filler because it's a sideboard card. It like taps one of your opponent's creatures, but if it's a princess, it kills them. So this is really key on killing your opponent's Moanas in the princesses matchup, but it is sideboard entirely. Shield of Virtue, I don't hate. I do not like this card because I think you need too much to be going right in order for it to work. But if you're already winning, this card wins you the game. It's definitely a win more card. Next up, we've got Sword of Truth. This is the same thing as Poison Apple. It taps an opponent's villain, but it taps an opponent's character, but if it's a villain, it kills them. So this is really good in the Hades matchup. Items Aerial. Items Aerial is incredible only in certain strategies. This is probably the best card in here, maybe tied with this Mickey. It says whenever you play an item, untap it. It doesn't say that you can't quest for the rest of the turn. So, like, if you have a bunch of mana, which you do because you're in blue, and you have a bunch of items because you do because you're in blue, this thing can quest for like 7 in one turn. 4-mana Aurora, I think, is bait. Unfortunately, the 5-mana Aurora has shift 3, and we do have a 2-mana Aurora, so it curves perfectly into each other. 5-mana Aurora, I think, is best in color. I think if you're in blue, you need to be playing Aurora. Even if you're not in the princesses like archetype, you just need to be playing Aurora. It's so incredibly strong to give all your other cards ward. Moana, I think, is the build around for yellow right now. I think if you're playing yellow and you're not playing Moana, unless you're playing the Stitch deck, you're playing it wrong. Like Moana and Stitch pull the color in 2 different directions, which is a little unfortunate because a lot of the other colors feel very united in what they want to do. 2-mana Aurora. I think 2-mana Aurora goes with the 5-mana Aurora up here in best in color for the same reasons that the Aladdin does. We've got Item Bell. Item Bell is good in certain strategies. If you're playing items, you're playing Item Bell. If you're not playing items, you're not playing Item Bell. Mana Bell is good in certain strategies. I don't think she's an auto-include in all blue decks because she takes extra cards out of your hand to turn them into ink, and I think that blue really struggles with having cards in its hand. She wins the game by herself, though. She quests for 5 if you have 10 ink on the board, which is not incredibly hard to do, but very powerful. Chief Tui, I think, is a slot filler. He quests for 3, so it's hard to put him in a starter deck spot, but he costs so much and does so little. He's got support, but he only supports for 3. It doesn't even matter. Donald Duck is a slot filler. He quests for 2, but he costs 5 mana. Flounder is our blue 1-mana 2/2 going up. Same reasons for Sergeant Tibbs. Grammatala, I think, is good in the ramp decks. I don't think you play 4 copies of her like you do a lot of the other ramp cards, but I think she is quite strong. Next up, we've got Ariel. That's not Ariel. That's Hades. He casts Let It Go when you play him, which means he's good in certain strategies. If he was inkable, I'd put him in best in color. Jasmine is really, really good. Jasmine is just a really good value character. 3 mana, 3/3 with the quest for 2 that has the princesses tag means that you're probably playing her in blue, also just like for the shift on this Jasmine. But like you're also playing it in princesses because it's got the tag, but also it's just like a good value card. Like I've got this in our blue-red ramp deck because it just quests for 2. Like it's just a good body. Going with that, we've got the healer Jasmine that shifts down onto our other Jasmine. 5 mana, 2/5, the quest for 2 can shift onto your other Jasmine, and whenever you play it and whenever you quest, you heal your entire team, including herself, for 2 damage. This is an incredibly good effect at keeping your team alive. I like this Jasmine a lot. I think she's really good in princesses. I think she's really good in the ramp deck because you're playing a bunch of big threats that you want to keep alive. So I think this Jasmine's really strong. Mr. Shmi is bad. That's all we're going to say on him. This Maleficent is slot filler. I don't hate this Maleficent. I don't think it's great. This is our 4 mana blue Maleficent, the quest for 2. It just gets so outclassed by the 5 mana Maleficent, the quest for 3. Like, just pay the 1 extra mana, get the extra quest. Like, you get better stats, you get a higher defense, you get an extra lore, all for 1 more mana, and it's still inkable. Because the 5 mana Maleficent exists, I think the 4 mana Maleficent's not amazing, though I don't necessarily hate. I lied. I hate it. It's a starter deck card. This card's bad. All right, Maurice. I think Maurice is the best card in the game when he resolves his effect. But he costs 6 mana, and you have to cast items after he's already been on the board, and a lot of your items cost not very much, and you want to have them out earlier in the game, which means he doesn't really resolve his effect. But he goes in the item deck with Belle. I personally don't think the item deck is very strong, but you know what? Good in certain strategies. It means even certain strategies I think are not bad. It's a certain strategy. We'll put him in there. Merlin, I don't like Merlin. He's just got support. Detective Mickey. Detective Mickey is incredibly strong. Detective Mickey is one of our best ramp cards in blue. I think if you're playing in blue, you're playing it either for Aurora or for the ramp, or often for both. And the Detective Mickey is one of the best cards. Next up, we've got Mufasa. I like this guy similar to the Maleficent. This is the starter deck, Mufasa. He quests for 3. If he quested for 2, I wouldn't like him. You can ink him. He's 6 mana. 6 mana for a 4/6, a quest for 3. You get like 1 more power than this Maleficent at 5. So like, they're both actually doing that comparison. I think I like him as slot filler more. Phil, I don't like Phil. I think Phil is not great. He doesn't offer a whole lot. This Scar is also not great. I don't like him very much. Tamatoa is part of our items deck. We'll put all our items girlies together. He also goes well in the ramp deck that blue is already in because he costs 8 mana. He quests for 1 lore, but he quests for an additional lore for every item you have on the board. And when you play him or quest, you get your items back from your discard. Prince Philip is not awful. He's not inkable, which is why I don't terribly like him. He quests for 2 though, and if he dies while he is challenging, he banishes the opponent's card. Triton is just a big vanilla dude. I don't really like Triton. Develop Your Brain is incredible. Develop Your Brain is one of the best cards in blue. Because blue struggles with turn 1 so much, their really big power plays are on turn 2, turn 3, and turn 5. Most blue decks don't really play many 1 color card or 1 mana cards. Develop Your Brain, just allowing you to set up your draws, get to where you need to be early in the game after you mulligan, is so powerful. I like that a lot. If it's not Baroque, gets your items back. There's not enough item destroying cards for this card to be good. Let It Go is our premier removal spell in blue. It's a song, so your 5 mana princesses sing it. It's removal, so it takes your opponent's guy out. It's inkable, so it's never dead. This card is so incredible. 1 Jump Ahead goes up with our Detective Mickey as our 2 mana ramp spell. It's a song, so if you want to, you can play something on turn 2, then sing this on turn 3 for 1 Jump Ahead, then play your Mickey, and then you're like 6 mana on turn 4, and that's just an incredible combo. Work Together gives one of you guys support. I don't think support is very good, especially in blue. Coconut Basket is good in certain strategies. I like playing Coconut Basket with Wizard Mickey and the brooms to loop the brooms and just consistently heal your team. Eye of the Fates, I think, is slot filler. This is slot filler just for the items deck. You play this in the items deck, but Jesus, this was not great. You really want better items. Fishbone Quill is good in certain strategies. It's another one of our ramp cards. It goes near Belle because I think it's one of our bad ramp cards. The thing about these 2 ramp cards that I think is so much stronger is that they take the top card of your deck and put it into your mana. Fishbone Quill and Belle need other cards from your hand and put them into your mana, which means you're running out of cards to play. Magic Golden Flower, I think, is slot filler just for an items. Like a lot of the blue items are just going to be slot fillers just on base. I think they're probably bad. Like, these guys are bad, but if you're in the items deck, you need to max out on items, and you just have to. Pumbaa is just a generic guy that only quests for 1. Don't really like him. Scepter of Arendelle gives something support. Don't really like it. Bad item. Aladdin is not great. Beast, I think, is a slot filler. Beast is one of our sideboard cards. It's not as impactful as in sideboard. Actually, no, our other sideboard cards are here. Yeah, Poison Apple and Sword of Truth. Yeah, you bring this in if you're in Steel against the item deck. It quests for 2, so like you come in, pop their good item, quest for 2, have a good body. 5 mana for a 4/6. Really, really good. Captain Hook. 4 mana Captain Hook is best in color. If you're in Steel, you're playing Captain Hook because you're also playing Fire the Cannons, and Captain Hook gets back Fire the Cannons. This card is incredible. This card is the backbone of all Steel decks. If you're playing Steel and you're not playing Captain Hook, that means you don't have the Captain Hooks, or you're playing it wrong, in my opinion. Cerberus is a generic. He only quests for 1. Generics are quest for 1. I do not like, and they go into starter decks. Shift Hook is decent. If Shift Hook could be inked, he would be best in color. Your 4-mana Captain Hook has a decent body. This guy has a better body and offers protection for himself against other like annoying challengers. And the 4-mana Captain Hook has an enter battlefield trigger. So once you put on top of him, you don't really lose any value. You just gain value. We've got our, where's our other Musketeer? Musketeer Donald Duck. I think they're not good, but they're Musketeers. So we got to put them there. Big Chungus guy. I don't know this guy's actual name. I've watched Lilo & Stitch a couple times, I swear. He's too much mana right now. Goons is very strong. Goons is incredibly strong in those aggro strategies. I think that I'm putting this 1-mana 2/2 ahead of the rest of these guys because this is what Steel wants to be doing. Because this fits in what the colors already, like, archetypal strategy is trying to do. I think I like this card better in Steel than in the other colors. All right, now on to the best card in the game. Rapunzel. This Rapunzel is the best card in the game, in my opinion. The strongest card in the game. It's the most expensive card as of right now, I believe, outside of like foil and enchanted cards, right? For base rarity, this is the most expensive card in the set, I believe, right now. This card is just incredible. 4 mana, can be inked, is a princess, quest for 2, all of that on its own, like puts it in the princess's deck. 1 mana, or a 1/5, also puts it in the princess's deck, very hard to kill. And when it hits the battlefield, you heal one of your characters for 3. Decent upside already, but then for each damage you healed, you draw a card. For each damage you healed, you draw a card. If you healed it for 3, you draw 3. This card gets you so much insane advantage. You heal your guys, so they have to swing another guy at it to kill it. Maybe you kill their guy on the backswing. That's already a +1, just for potential +1 just from the heal. She quests for 2. That's incredible. She's a princess. She gets untapped by your Moana. That's incredible. She draws you 3 cards. That's incredible. There's no other cards in the game that draw you 3 cards, except for the Steel card that draws everybody 7 cards. This card is incredible. Even if you're using it to draw 2 cards, it's like a good Friends on the other side, because it's also a princess and it also quests for 2. This is the best card in the game, in my opinion, right now. Every yellow deck should be playing this card, because the floor on this card is still like heal one of your guys for 1, draw a card, quest for 2. 4 mana Hans. 4 mana Hans is not great just because, or Steel Hans is not great just because he gets outclassed by the green Hans, I think. Hercules, also in slot filler. This is like our bad bodyguard. We've got some good bodyguards in yellow, but if you're in Steel, you might as well run him because he's a bad bodyguard. He like goes with the Musketeers deck because he's a bodyguard, and the Musketeers like bodyguards. That's not bad. Kristoff is a generic. He quests for 2, so I'll put him up here. He's a 3 mana 3/3 that quests for 2. He's similar to the Jasmine that we have up here. Where's our Jasmine? Here's our Jasmine. But there's nothing that shifts onto Kristoff, and he's not a princess. Generic Kronk. Okay, I said that I wouldn't put generics at tap for 2 down here, but listen, he costs so much mana, and he's a 6 mana 6/6. I don't care about that. Same with this Lilo. Lilo's decent. If we get a shift Lilo, this card will get a lot of more value. The Maui is in here for similar reasons to, yeah, we'll put him, because he's in the same reasons for this guy. If you're playing the Steel ramp deck, he goes in. If you're not playing the Steel ramp deck, he never goes in. All right, we got our last Musketeer. Our 3 Musketeers. Prince Eric, I think, is very good in a lot of Steel decks. He is a 2 mana 1/3 that challenges as a 3/3. This allows him to take out anything in the game right now. He can take on turn 2 when he comes down. Say your opponent goes first, they play a card, you play a card. They play mana, you play mana. They play mana, you play mana. You play Prince Eric. If they had a guy, if they quest with their guy, their 2 mana guy, Prince Eric can kill it. No matter what it is, Prince Eric kills every 2 mana card in the game right now. Simba, I think, is good in certain strategies. I personally am not playing him in my Steel deck because I'm playing a more aggro, like an aggressive board control Steel deck. But if you're playing kind of the mid-range Steel deck where he's a 1 mana 1/2 that quests for 1, not awful on rate, and when you play him, you get to discard a card and draw a card. That card filtering is very nice, and Steel, it really does need some extra card draw, so I don't hate him. Big Simba, I do not like. He does not have shift. He has Challenger 4, I think it is. So he attacks for like 1,000,000 damage. Sebastian is our Singer 4. Unfortunately, not Singer 5, because a lot of the big cards we want to be playing are at 5 mana. But he's still really good in the song deck. The ability to sing 4 is only going to get better. The more songs we get, the more relevant this text comes. And he's already pretty good right now. This Simba, medium Simba, is... I want to put him in slot filler because he can't be inked. I think that's what we have to do. If he could be inked, he'd be good in certain strategies. He says, whenever one of your characters kills an opponent's character in a challenge, you gain 1 lore, which could get you a fuck ton of lore. But only if your opponent, like, has guys on the board that are tapped already. I'm not putting him in my aggressive fight for the board Steel deck, and that's kind of where he wants to be played. That should say something. Starkey, I think, is not great. He gets like +1 attack if you have a captain on board. There's Captain Hooks are good. Starkey is not good. Even with the +1, Starkey does not make up for it. Taka is similar reasons to the Simba. I don't know. I don't like this Taka at all. I think it costs too much mana. It can be inked. You know what? We're going to swap these guys. Big Tinkerbell is incredible. Big Tinkerbell is the reason Steel deck can win the games. There are certain decks that Steel can't beat. But now they can actually, because Big Tinkerbell is a card. Also, it's a beautiful enchanted card that I have, and I like, and I maybe am putting that up here for bias reasons, but I don't care. Big Tinkerbell is really, really strong. Because of that, 3-mana Tinkerbell is in here. Unfortunately, small Tinkerbell is not very good. Like with the Aladdin, there's certain decks you would run the 3-mana Aladdin in without the 7-mana Aladdin. Same with Aurora. There's some decks you would play the 2-mana Aurora without the big Aurora. There is no decks you would play small Tinkerbell in without big Tinkerbell. If big Tinkerbell doesn't exist in this game, small Tinkerbell is a very, very bad card. Well, maybe it's like a slot filler card. Next up, we've got A Whole New World. A Whole New World, I think I have to put in good in certain strategies. It's 5-mana uninkable. It is a song. It's a 5-mana song, which is nice. Even though it can't be inked, it can still be sung. It says each player discards their hand and draws 7. There's a gimmicky mill deck where you can loop this in green and just like keep singing and draw a million cards and keep looping it back and try to mill your opponent out. A Whole New World is good in the aggro decks and a lot of like vomit your hand onto the board type of like either aggro decks or control decks. Both of them tend to do that. A lot of really good steel cards are pretty low to the ground, so this plays really well in steel already. Break is one of our sideboard cards. This thing just pops an item, but there's not really a great items deck right now, and so I don't really care about it. Fire the Cannons goes with our big hook. It deals 2 damage to anything on the board. It's 1 mana. It's uninkable, sadly, because this Captain Hook is also uninkable, but it's so powerful it doesn't matter. It's just so, you just kill everything. You kill everything. It's the only card that can deal with the yellow aggro's like turn 1, turn 2 ideal setup. It's the only card in the game that can deal with it. This is Grab Your Sword. Grab Your Sword, I think, is good in certain strategies. It's good against certain strategies. If this should be in its own category of good against certain strategies. Dealing 2 damage to all your opponent's cards, not good in the Princess's deck. Incredibly good against aggro decks. Depends on what. This is an incredibly good sideboard card. This is a very powerful sideboard card. Ransack, I think, is not great. Ransack says draw 2, discard 2. 9-mana Maleficent. I think 9-mana Maleficent is good in certain strategies. I think it goes with the Mickey Mouse. I think it's not guaranteed in every red deck you're going to play, but it's very, very likely. It casts a Dragonfire when it plays, but it's 9 mana. It is inkable, thank God. If it wasn't inkable, it'd be really bad. It's got a really high attack stat, but not a very high defense stat, which means it does die. It kills things on its way out, but it just dies. Yeah, it's an incredible card, though. If you're casting it, you're probably winning the game. Simba, Yellow Simba is so strong. I really underestimated this card. This is a common. This is one of the strongest commons in the game. I don't want to say it's the strongest common in the game, because I know my slot for that. This is one of the strongest commons in the game. Simba is so good. Smash is good in certain strategies. It's not always great. It's not as good as Fire the Cannons, because it comes out on turn 3. It can be inked, but it can't be looped back with Captain Hook. It serves a very similar purpose to Fire the Cannons. Beast Mirror. Beast Mirror, I think, is one of the best cards in good in certain strategies. It's not mandatory if you're playing silver, or if you're playing steel, but it's so good. Frying Pan. Frying Pan is bad. Frying Pan stops an opponent from questing, but they can still attack you. Stops an opponent from attacking you, but they can still quest. That's probably what they're going to be doing anyways. The Musketeers banner goes with the Musketeers. It's a Musketeers card. Plasma Rifle. Plasma Rifle's so hard to evaluate. It can't be inked. It's a 3-mana card that can't be inked. If it could be inked, I'd probably play it in some more of my decks. Its ability is to tap 2 mana and it to deal 1 damage to any character. It's a good ability. It's strong, but it can't be inked. All right, Surfer Stitch. Surfer Stitch is a mythic. He's legendary. He's also an enchanted rare. I think he's not good. I think Surfer Stitch just gets really outclassed by Rockstar Stitch. 1-mana Stitch is best in color. This is another one of our 1-mana 2/2s that can be inked for a similar reason that Goons got bumped up a tier. This guy gets bumped up a tier because it's exactly what yellow wants to be doing. Also, it shifts down. It gets shifted onto from the big Stitch. That's why it's up here. It is the Aurora of our yellow shift line. Next up, we got Timon. Timon, when he enters the battlefield, you heal one of your guys for 1. Not very good. Be Our Guest is very, very strong. Be Our Guest is actually probably best in color. I think if you're playing yellow, you're playing a creature deck, and you want Be Our Guest. Be Our Guest is a 2-mana song that says look at the top 4, add a creature to your hand, or a character to your hand. It's very, very good. It puts in a lot of work. Control Your Temper is not good. Hakuna Matata, I think it's a slot filler, maybe. It heals your whole team for 3, and it's a song. But, like, I'm not even playing it in the Princess's deck. The Princess's deck has Jasmine. I don't know. I don't like it. Healing Glow for a similar reason, not good. Just in Time. Just in Time is the first card to get banned. Just in Time will be banned. This card cannot withstand multiple sets. This card, it's 3 mana action. It can't be inked, but it doesn't matter because this card is too strong. It says put a card that costs 5 or less, a character that costs 5 or less from your hand onto the board. It plays out your Aurora. It plays out your Moana. It plays out like the floating Captain Hook. It plays out everything. The more 4 and 5 mana cards that this game gets, the better Just in Time is going to be. Just in Time is the first card to be banned. Lorcana might not want to ban cards. They're going to have to ban Just in Time. Elsa. 3-mana Elsa is good in certain strategies. I built an entire deck around this Elsa, and I think, personally, I think it's the best deck in the game right now. I've built lots of decks. The Elsa deck is incredibly strong. This is my personal fan favorite deck, so maybe I'm valuing her a little too high, but this Elsa is very, very powerful, but only in certain strategies. You need to have attackers to benefit from her ability to punish your opponent for not questing with their guys, or for just playing guys and then being able to kill them before they quest. Part of your world. Part of your world, I think part of your world is a slot filler, actually. I don't really like this card. It's 3 mana, it's a song, but it can't be inked, and it just returns a character from your graveyard to your hand. You Have Forgotten Me. I thought You Have Forgotten Me was really bad. Then my opponent played this against me, and I lost the game because of it twice in a row. So I think it's good in certain strategies. It does not play like a yellow card. This is not a yellow effect. If there is a color pie, I think that this is a color pie break, which is funny to have in the first set. This effect is a green effect, and because you can play it in yellow, it's very funny, and it will just catch your opponents off guard. Dinglehopper. I think Dinglehopper is a slot filler. Dinglehopper is really, really good in multiples, but if you're playing multiple Dinglehoppers, that means you're not playing other cards that you need to then heal with your Dinglehoppers. That's not great. Maybe in a sideboard. I think it's good in sideboard. We'll put it near other sideboard cards. Lantern is really, really powerful. Lantern is probably best in color. Every yellow deck is playing Lantern. Maybe you're not playing 4, but you're playing Lantern. All the yellow decks are creature decks. Same thing with similar thing to Be Our Guest. And Lantern just ramps out your creatures. It's 2 mana. It can't be inked, but it makes mana anyways. So like it kind of can be inked as long as you can get to 2 mana. You ink it by casting it. Ursula's Shell Necklace is a classic, good in certain strategies. This card wins you the game if you're the Songs deck. If you're in the Songs deck and you have this card on the board, you win the game. If you're in the Songs deck and you don't have this card on the board, you lose the game. It can't be inked, which is unfortunate, because you need to see this card, but you don't want to see more than one, because the mana tax is very high, and it's 3 mana, so you're not even playing it early. Can't be inked. It's good in certain strategies. It's not incredible, but it's very, very powerful in the strategies it's in. Anna to go with our red Elsa. Where's our red Elsa? Our red Elsa's down here somewhere. There she is. Bad card. Archimedes, 1 mana, 1/2, that quests for 2. Bad card. Dr. Facilier, Shift Facilier, good card, good in certain strategies. This goes with the aggro deck. It just stops your opponent from killing your guys. It forces your opponent to kill this guy first before you kill your before they kill all your other guys, because if they kill your other guys, they're wasting resources because you're getting them back. It doesn't even matter. And he quests for 3, and he shifts down. So he comes down, immediately shifts for 3, suicide your team and your opponent, get them all back, clear their board. They can't even fight Facilier. I mean, they can and they will, because they have to. Small Facilier, good in certain strategies. 2 mana, 0/4 that challenges for 2, only quests for 1, acts as a good shift target. Quite good. 3 mana Facilier, good in certain strategies. This card is probably better. This card is very interesting because one of the cards I'm about to put in best in color, this card works very, very well with. But I play 4 copies of the other card, and I don't play 4 copies of this guy. I think we're putting him good in certain strategies. He's good in the Songs deck. Whenever you play a song, you look at the top 2 cards of your deck, put 1 on top, 1 on bottom. That filtering is very strong. And, okay, well, I thought the card that I was about to talk to was next. But we got Captain Hook. Captain Hook, he's our other 1 mana. This guy goes with Goons so well. Check out our Dark Elsa deck for this explanation, the in-depth explanation why Captain Hook and Goons is so strong together. But they're both very, very good. They complement each other in very powerful ways. Also, another shift target for our Flying Hook, wherever he may be in my list somewhere. Elsa, that has no effect, very bad. 8 mana Elsa. Oh, man, Elsa's so pretty. And this card does what the other Elsa effect does. And this card's an enchanted, and the enchanted's so pretty. And it's such a high rarity, but it's such a slot filler. Like, if you want this effect, you play the 3 mana Elsa. Like, it shifts down, sure, but like, the 3 mana Elsa, the good thing about the 3 mana Elsa is it does it turn after turn after turn. This card does it once. It does it on 2 guys once, and it quests for 3, which is nice, but like, I don't know. I have an Elsa build around deck and I'm not playing it. That's all I need to say. Flotsam, slot filler. Where's Jetsam? Also, slot filler. Actually, which one of these is the rush one? The rush one is bad. The evasive one is... yeah, the rush one is bad. The evasive one is not awful, but I still don't like them. 4 mana Jafar. Probably a slot filler, actually. This card's really good. It quests for 2. Its attack is equal to your hand size, and it's a 5 toughness, so it's a really good challenger. It also quests, like, fairly efficiently, even if you don't have cards in hand, but I think that he gets outclassed. Other 4 mana Jafar. This card just has to be good in certain strategies. It's similar to the Hook, the 5 mana Hook. It can be inked. It's 4 mana, so it's cheaper than the Hook. It doesn't shift out, but it's cheaper than the Hook. It still quests for 1. It attacks as a 5/5. It doesn't have the effect to like not be hit back, but it just kills everything. Like, this card is so good in purple deck, especially since purple doesn't have hard removal. Purple's removal is their challengers, and this is one of the best challengers in purple. It's so good. So I think, like, it's pretty close to best in color. I feel like if you're playing purple and you're not playing this Jafar, you might be doing something wrong. This might be controversial, but I think this Jafar it feels pretty mandatory in most purple decks that I'm seeing. Yeah, I think that I wasn't planning on doing this. I kind of had a general list of what the best in color cards were. This was not in my head originally. I think actually this card is really, really good. Magic Brooms. Magic Brooms are best in color because Wizard Mickey is best in color. And the looping that you do with the Brooms and the Wizard Mickey to slam your guy into your opponent's team, so strong. 1 mana Maleficent, best in color. This goes with the Lilo, we'll get to in a minute. I think it's later on my list. 1 mana that quests for 2. There's only 2 in the game, and it does its job incredibly well, and that's why this card is still expensive to this day. It's so good. 3 mana Maleficent. This card's best in color. Every purple deck's playing this Maleficent. Now, okay, admittedly, I don't think every deck is playing Wizard Mickey. They probably should be, but I don't think they are. Maybe we drop this. Maybe we drop the brooms. Well, because if you're playing, I don't know. This one I might go back and forth on. I'll update you guys on how I feel about this at the end. But this 3-mana Maleficent is so strong. 3-mana 2/2, good body. Quest for 1, fine. When it enters, draw cards. Replaces itself, perfect. All we needed to do. Robin Hood. Robin Hood is good in certain strategies. He's one of your blue payoffs for ramp. There's not many good payoffs in blue that just like are by themselves good. He's one of them. He goes in the blue ramp deck every time. Marshmallow, I think, is a slot filler. He's cool effect, but he's not very strong. Wizard Mickey. I mean, I have to put Wizard Mickey with the brooms for now, right? We'll come back to this. Wizard Mickey is so good, especially in multiples. He's even better in multiples. It's so good. Olaf I think is bad. 1 mana. He's just Archimedes. Oh wait, Archimedes is our 1 mana 2/2. I lied. Archimedes, you're up here. I was thinking of Olaf. Olaf is down here. Olaf is bad. Pascal. Pascal is good in certain strategies. He's not mandatory in every purple deck, but he feels close to it. He's so good on turn 1. He's really good. Rafiki, I think Rafiki is bad. Rafiki has Rush. He's a 3-mana 3/3 with Rush, but he can't be inked. If he could be inked, I think he's slot filler. I don't hate him. I don't like him, but I don't hate him. Sven is bad. Sven is a generic card. The Queen is very good at certain strategies. She's so much mana. She's a 5-mana 4/5 that has a tap ability to draw a card. You don't attack with her. You don't challenge her. You don't quest with her. She gets hit, but she's got a lot of she has a high attack, so she can defend herself, which is nice. And the additional card draw wins you the game. This is like Beast Mirror, but on steroids, but harder to cast. The wardrobe is bad. Tinkerbell, evasive Tinkerbell. I think evasive Tinkerbell is bad. She can't be inked. Like maybe if you're playing an all evasive deck. But that deck is bad. I don't know. I don't like that card. Ursula's bad. Rockstar Stitch is one of the best cards in the game. Goes with our other Stitch. This card is the backbone of an entire deck. Like, the aggro deck is sometimes called the Rockstar Stitch deck for a reason. Like, similar how the Princess's deck is sometimes called the Moana deck, this is its own deck. Yzma, I was really big on. I thought it was really good in a lot of strategies, but only in certain strategies. I think now it's slot filler. I think we're going to get better cards to replace this Yzma. There's just been so many more cards that have come out since I was originally looking at Yzma that do Yzma's job better. Zeus is very good in certain strategies. He's a 4-mana 0/4 that quests for 2, which is very important, with Rush and Challenger 4. He cannot be inked, which is unfortunate, but he attacks as a 4/4 on turn 4. Kills your opponent's guys who thought they were safe questing if you didn't have a board. And if they don't have a board, he quests for 2. That is what's very important about him. If he quested for 1, he's bad. He quests for 2, so he's good. Befuddle is one of Purple's only removal spells. Unfortunately, it's dog shit. Freeze is another of Purple's bad removal spells. Friends on the Other Side. Friends on the Other Side is incredible. What are you talking about? I'm putting this up here. This is probably one of the best cards in the game. If Rapunzel is the best card in the game, Friends on the Other Side is the second best card in the game. Just in Time is the first to get banned. I stand by that, though. Just every purple deck starts with Friends on the Other Side. Like, not every red deck starts with Aladdin. Like, maybe you want to do another strategy and you end up finding Aladdin anyways because it's just so good. Every purple deck starts with Friends on the Other Side. It's so incredible. Just, it's literally Pot of Greed if you sing it. It's literally Yu-Gi-Oh's Pot of Greed. It's so powerful. Reflections is the worst card in the game. No further elaboration. Magic Mirror, I think is good in certain strategies. I think it's similar to the Queen. It's so mana intensive. Ursula's Cauldron is really good. I think actually Ursula's Cauldron is just a better Magic Mirror. Same mana, 2 mana, can't be inked, but you use it every turn for free. It doesn't draw you a card, but it filters your draws. And in purple, there's so much card draw already that you know you're going to draw cards. And so now you know what you're going to draw. You can fix your draws. Very good card. Rabbit's Pocket Watch. Rabbit's Pocket Watch is bad, but it's good in certain strategies. If you are challenging for the board, if you are punching your opponent in the face over and over and over again, and you need to hit them as fast as possible, it can be decent. Actually, I think it's slot filler. I think this card gets caught. Once we get more cards, it gets caught. Yeah, it's not great. Aladdin. 2-mana ward Aladdin goes up here with our other Aladdins, just because he shifts so incredibly well onto the other Aladdin. He does what green already wants to do, where they're hard to hit. He doesn't quest for 2, unfortunately, but then it'd be incredible. It just works as almost the perfect shift Aladdin target. Hi, I think it's slot filler. He's good. He's not bad. He's a decent 1-mana card. Because he's got support, he can help yellow really, like, kind of push over the edge when they need to be attacking, which they don't want to be doing, but they can. I think it's not bad. Beast. This Beast is bad. Beast for bad. Cheshire Cat. Cheshire Cat, I think, is a slot filler. Duke of Weaselton goes down there. Flynn Rider. Flynn is very strong. Flynn is one of our better. I think most green decks are playing Flynn. 2-mana 1/2 that quests for 2. When your opponent challenges him, they discard a card. Not even if he's banished in a challenge. Just if they challenge him. The Genie line. Oh, the Genie line. I think the Genie line is bad, but I'll put it in slot filler because, like, I don't hate it, but it's not good. Hans. 4-mana Hans. 4-mana Hans is so good. I think 4-mana Hans is a mandatory in green. He's so good. He quests for 3. He's one of the only. He's the cheapest card that quests for 3 in the game. He's so powerful. Horus is a generic card that is not good. LeFou is not a generic card, but he's not good. He costs 1 less. Actually, no. He's quest for 2. He's decent. He's a slot filler. He's a 2-mana card that quests for 2. He's decent because of that alone. If he quested for 1, he'd be very bad. He quests for 2. He's one of the cheapest cards that quests for 2. Iago. Iago forces your opponent to hit you. I think he's a slot filler. I think he combos with some green cards fairly well. Jasper. Jasper is not great. Jasper is a slot filler. John Silver. John Silver is good for certain strategies. Stops your opponent from. It forces your opponent to gain Reckless and like hit your certain guys. He quests for 2. He's 5/5. He comes out on turn 6. He's inkable. Not bad. Jumba Jukiba. He quests for 2. He's still bad. Kuzco. Kuzco's incredible. Kuzco's one of the best cards in green. 5 mana uninkable, unfortunately. 2/4. Quests for 3 at 5 mana. Very good. Incredible curve off of Hans. Hans on 4, Kuzco on 5. You probably win the game. He's got wards. Your opponent can't kill him before he quests. And when they hit him, he does the Cheshire Cat thing, right? Like, this is the good version of Cheshire Cat. Like, the problem with Cheshire Cat is they just kill him with a spell. You can't do that to Kuzco. You can't touch him. He's no touchy. Next up, we got Lady Tremaine. Lady Tremaine is good in certain strategies, as is her spell. I'm just going to cheat here. Do it again. These are the same card. They're both good in certain strategies. You're playing a lot of actions. If you want to be looping stuff like Dragonfire over and over and over again to just like infinite removal your opponent into the sun, it's good. If you're not doing exactly that, I think they're bad. The biggest problem with these 2 cards right now is they're both uninkable, and that's a damn shame. Unfortunate. Mad Hatter. Mad Hatter's incredible. Mad Hatter is like this is like the all-star of green, right? Like these 4 cards are green in the entire archetype. You just play 4 of these every time you're playing green, and you slam it, and you don't think about it anymore because you don't need to. Meg I think is bad. She buffs your guys, but you don't care about that. Shift Mickey. I'm gonna respect Shift Mickey and put him in slot filler, even though I don't think I should. This Mickey, Steamboat Mickey's actually pretty good. And so you know what? Because Steamboat Mickey does go in slot filler, I'll feel comfortable putting Shift Mickey in slot filler. Lilo is incredible. Lilo goes up with our 1-mana Maleficent as another 1-mana card that quests for 2. Very, very strong. Mother Gothel. Mother Gothel is good in certain strategies. She is similar to, where is it? Was my Captain Hook, I think it was, that was good against certain strategies. If your opponent's playing princesses, this card wins you the game. If your opponent's not playing princesses, this card does nothing. This card is super strong. Or like Hades. If your opponent's playing a combo deck that wants to quest for 1 million in 1 turn, Mother Gothel wins you the game. If they're not doing that, Mother Gothel's fucking useless. But she's inkable, so you can just throw her down there. Not bad. Peter Pan. Peter Pan's bad. Tamatoa. He is a drab little crab. Unfortunately, he is a bad little crab. Tinkerbell. This is the evasive Tinkerbell. Evasive Tinkerbell I think is not awful. She's a slot filler. She's not the worst thing in the world. She's not good. Mother Knows Best. Mother Knows Best is good. I don't know. Green doesn't have removal. Green has bad removal, and that's in Mother Knows Best. It's a song, which is really good. You can't have like, you're not going to, but you could have Han sing it. You're not going to, but you could. You could have somebody like John Silver or Mother Gothel sing it, because they just have to be tapped. That it's not like when they quest. Actually, John Silver is, but like Mother Gothel just has to be tapped. Like same with Stampede. Like if you're playing green, you have to play Stampede, and you probably have to play Mother Knows Best, unless you're in steel as well, because you have a bunch of removal. But like if you're in another color with some of these cards, you don't need to be playing them, so I think that's fine, because they shore up what the color is missing. Steal from the Rich is good in certain strategies. It's good in like a go wide strategy with Mulan. Where's our Mulan? There's our Mulan. Sudden Chill is decent. Sudden Chill, because it's a song and because it's inkable, I think is good in certain strategies. It's good in like the hand control green deck, where you're like looping it over and over again with Do It Again and Lady Tremaine. Not awful. Then we've got The Beast Is Mine. This card is a slot filler card through and through. This card combos with your Mad Hatter and your Flynn Rider to force your opponent to hit you, but it's not good. It's gonna get caught. As soon as we get another better, like cheap, make your opponent reckless effect, this card goes away. Now, admittedly, we might not get that for a while, but we will get it, and this card then goes away. All right, our tier list is done, at least for now. I'm going to spend a little bit of time reorganizing everything so that they are in a sorted tier list. All right, we're back. I only organized the best in color and the good in certain strategies lists because these guys, like, you don't really like compare these to another card within their tier when you're like thinking about putting them in. You just like need a certain mana slot or something like that. That's how I find myself looking for slot filler cards. And these cards are so bad that you don't like think about them at all, in my opinion. When like building a deck. The only exception is that Reflections is the worst card in the game, and it is sorted. The rest of these are not sorted. Reflections is sorted. This card is bad. So just going through at least best in color. This is, in my opinion, order of strongest to weakest, roughly. This is largely just like within their own color is where you should really be considering these. Just in Time is the first card to get banned, so it just has to be at the top. Rapunzel's the best card in the game. Friends on the Other Side is the second best card in the game. 4-mana Hook and Fire the Cannons are incredible. Then Lilo and Maleficent and Simba. These all work well together. Then the Aladdins, Big Aladdin, Red Aladdin, Green Aladdin. Then Rockstar Stitch and Small Stitch. Dragonfire and Be Prepared for removal. Kuzco's No Touchy, Let It Go for more removal. Mickey Mouse and One Jump Ahead for ramp, develop your brain for looking, Tinkerbell and Big Tink and Small Tink for removal, Aurora and Aurora for protection, Be Our Guest and Lanterns for creature removal, or for creature ramping and helping, Flynn, Ryder, and Mad Hatter, really, really good in green, Moana as a build around, Jafar as just incredible removal, Hans as the cheapest in Quest 3, Stampede for removal, Mother Knows Best for removal, Maleficent for card draw, and Mickey in the rooms. We did end up keeping these best in color. I don't think they're mandatory in every purple deck, but they're so close. They're the last cards you cut, if you cut them at all. They're so powerful. Then we've got good in certain strategies. We've got Items Ariel, Beast Mirror, Elsa, Freeze Elsa, Big Maleficent, Pascal, Adventurer Mickey, Big Maximus, Fan the Flames and LeFou, Hades, Mulan, Pongo, A Whole New World, Tigger, Zeus, Grammatala, Ramp Bell, Fishbone Quill, Big Jasmine, Small Jasmine, Medium or 5 mana Maleficent, Flying Hook, Small Hook, Goons, Prince Eric, Small Simba, Smash, You Have Forgotten Me, that's what that card's called, You Have Forgotten Me, Shell Necklace, Big Facilier, Medium Facilier, Small Facilier, Robin Hood, Big Crab, Small Bell, Maurice, the Queen, Coconut Baskets, Ursula's Cauldron, not cannons, that'd be cool though, Maui, Rapunzel, Sebastian, Lady Tremaine, and Do It Again, Mother Gothel, John Silver, Grab Your Swords, Steal from the Rich, Shield of Virtue, and Sudden Chill are good in certain strategies. Editing David here. For some reason, 5 cards didn't get copied over into the tier maker here when I made the template. And those cards are the small 4-mana Hades, the big 8-mana Hades, the 3-mana Singer Ariel, the 4-mana Healer Cinderella, and the 4-mana Can't Sing Ariel. I think that both Hades are good in certain strategies. They are build-arounds similar to the Moana, but I don't think that deck is as strong as the Moana deck, at least not right now. The deck might need more refinement, and then maybe I push it up to best in color. The 4-mana Hades is incredibly strong even without the 8-mana Hades, so keep that in mind if you're building any yellow decks. The 4-mana Hades is a little more viable to be standalone than some of the other like smaller versions of a shift character. The Singer Ariel is best in color. She's so incredible. She just grabs you all the songs that you need for removal. If you find Be Our Guest with her, you feel like you've just drawn a million cards because you have. The Cinderella is probably a good in certain strategies. I think you really only play this card in Princesses. The healing effect is nice. Singer 5 is quite good and allows you to sing Let It Go, but it's not incredible. Same with the Songless Ariel. I think this is also good in certain strategies. She's a princess that quests for 2. We have a lot of those already, but she has a really good body. She's one of our highest attacking princesses, so just the ability for her to like actually get into combat and maybe pose some of a threat when your opponents have to attack into her to try and clear her is very, very nice. And so I like her at good in certain strategies. This whole tier list, my tier list here will be in the description, and the same like a template for the tier list will be in the description, so you can make yours. If you end up making a tier list, share it with us either in YouTube form or link form. I'd love to see what you guys think. If you disagree with me, you're wrong. If you agree with me, you're cool. I'm kidding. You can have your own opinions. That's what this is all about, sharing fun conversations about the game that we love in a slightly more competitive mind, but still fun and casual all to the end. If you like this video, if you want to see more, we've got plenty more Lorcana content coming to you over the next couple weeks, and we can't wait to be there with you guys for this incredible game. With that, we will see you guys next video. Peace.